Welcome in. Just getting ready here. So if you joined me yesterday, we did the driver's side headlight for this Honda Accord, and now we're going to do the passenger side. But here in the front side of the table are all the products that I use. So we'll cover that here in just a minute. Welcome in, welcome in. So this is the Headlight Magic product. Not everybody has to have any skill set to do this. In fact, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And with that being said, there's several different options. There's a DIY kit that comes with everything you need. It's a one-time, one-use kit. For those that are a little bit more serious, there is a 10-car package and a 50-car package. So again, each of those packages come with everything you need for either the 1-car kit or for the 10 or 50 cars. So from the sanding discs here on the table to the lens prep in blue to the ceramic there in black to your polishing pad in red to the synthetic wool cutting pad to the handheld sander to the gauze applicator pads and finally the magic eraser. So just getting the last few things on, get my gloves on here, and then we'll jump right in. So I'm going to do my best to answer questions and certainly respond as best I can while I'm doing this. And of course, talk my way through everything that I've got. So we'll get the camera up here. I'm going to do my best to keep this lens in the entire screen the whole way through. And so let's jump in. So as I mentioned, everything you need is here. You do not need to be a professional to do this. So if you're looking for a good product to restore your own headlights, this by far is the best product to do it. And certainly if you're in it from a business standpoint, this by far is the best product you're going to run across. Even to the extent for when I restore customers' headlights, I give them a 3-year warranty. That's how good this product is. So we'll jump in here, get going. So I can tell that this guy is going to need a little bit more love. I'll try and get this lens in front of the camera in just a second here. Let me just get situated. So on about 90, if you were with me yesterday, same thing applies. About 90 to 95% of all vehicles can be started with a 1,000 grit disc, right? I can tell you that this one, because I did it yesterday, and I'll bring this closer to the camera, or bring the camera closer. It's like half shiny. Oh, let's see here. It's like half shiny on the bottom, failed UV coating on the top, some oxidation. Certainly it's dirty. But we're going to remove all of that and we're going to make it look brand new. So without further ado, the first step is going to be this lens prep product. What this product does is strip the failed UV coating. Well, let's backtrack. The first thing this thing is going to do is remove all the yellow oxidation from the lens. And then what it's going to do, it's actually going to soften the UV coating to make it easier to sand when you start to remove that the UV coating from the actual lens itself. So really all we're going to do is water bottle, just with plain water. No need to mix isopropyl alcohol, just plain water works. And again, we're just going to take this magic eraser. There's a scrubby side and the white side. You can see this is dirty and somewhat yellowed from previous restorations. So we're going to get this nice and wet. And again, you can use these multiple times. Let me grab a towel. You can use these multiple times And in fact, the more that you use them, the more the chemical becomes kind of prevalent on the actual magic eraser. So the more you use it, the more that chemical actually goes to work. So really all we're going to do is try and get this in frame. All we're going to do is start on this side of the lens, and we're just going to make some passes, try and get it all cleaned off. And you can see the other thing I like about this product is with this lens product or lens prep product, it actually kind of gives you a sneak peek of how clear this thing is going to be. And like I always say, you know, sometimes you won't know the extent of the damage until you get in with a product like this. And certainly if there's any moisture or if there's any issues on the inside of the lens, this is basically when you'll know that and when you'll be able to say, okay, there's nothing I can do, because if it's damaged on the inside of the lens, there's really nothing you can do besides just replace the lens itself. So again, I'm just using the scrubber side, trying to get as much of this off as possible. And again, you don't need any special training. If I can do this, anybody can do it. And so you could see some of the yellow and dirt stuff that it picked up, and it stripped all that off. So again, there's still some heavy scratching here and through the middle of the lens, some peeling. So we're going to want to cut through all of that and remove all of that. To each their own, Raymond, or Rayon. All right, so we'll wipe this down. Again, it's going to soften that coating. And then we're going to jump right into wet sanding. We're going to start on this side of the lens. Wet everything down. Even your sanding disc. And we're going to just get right in. So what we're looking for is the change in color of the water as we're sanding. So the light in here isn't the best, but you can see that's kind of a dirty, like yellowy color. And that's what we want to see, because as we continue to do this, that's going to change color from a yellow to a white. And once that white starts to come through and become more prevalent, that's how we know we're into fresh plastic. And that's exactly what we want. Because for these first couple sanding disc stages, what we're looking for is an even white haze across the entire lens. That's all we want to see. So the scratching is good, but we want to make sure that we remove as much of this other stuff as we can. I go in different directions. So side to side, add a little bit more water here. And then to keep it all even and uniform, I'll go back and forth, up and down. I don't do circular motions just because I feel like sometimes it'll leave circle scratches in the lens itself. And again, we're just going to do the entire lens the same way, up and down, up and down. And we're really just trying to strip that failed UV coating off of the lens itself and get into fresh plastic. And see, if you can tell on the live, it's yellowy still. It's still really yellow. So that means we're still cutting through that UV coating. And we want to make that all like a milky white, more or less. So as a rule of thumb, generally, depending on the lens, again, I said 90% of them, you could start at 1,000 grit, go 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. 90 all the way up to 4. 90% of these, 95% of them even, can all be started at 1,000 grit. So there's no need to go that far down. And sometimes you'll have to go down as low as 400 or even a little bit lower. But again, the important thing is we are looking for an even haze across this whole entire lens. So again, the lighting in here isn't the best, but I can see some shiny spots here, right? So there's a shiny spot there. There's one here. There's kind of one here on this bevel. So we know we're not done. So that was the first pass, and we're about 85% done. And so we're just going to wash, rinse, and repeat. So again, rinse this off, You want to make sure your sanding disc is clean. Again, sometimes when you set these on the ground, you'll inadvertently pick up sand, rocks, and dirt. And all you're going to do at that point is just gouge out your lens, and it just creates more work for you. So on the second pass here, I can already tell the color of the water is starting to turn different. It's more white as opposed to yellowy or even brown. And so I know there was a shiny spot here, kind of at this bend of the headlight. So we're going to work that up and down, side to side. Again, super easy. I'm not applying a whole lot of pressure. How long do you take to do one? Sorry, I'm going to try and answer these as I see them come through. So it depends. If I'm not going through a demo, I can generally bang out 2 lights that are in a vehicle in an hour or less. That's start to finish. Sanding, cutting, polishing, applying the ceramic UV coating. So again, under an hour. Some of them will go over, just depending. So now to keep it uniform, we'll go the other direction. Up and down. I'm not applying a whole lot of pressure. I'm not pushing it all the way into the lens. You want to let the sanding disc do all the heavy lifting. All you really want to do is just hold it and let the disc do all the work. And again, we'll wipe this thing down and see how we look, see if we got rid of those shiny spots, because again, we're looking for a nice uniform haze across this entire lens. And I can tell you right here in the corner, if I'm in the camera, right here and right here, I need to go back and work. So that was 2 passes. I got rid of the shiny spots on this side and in the middle, but I can see it needs a little bit more love kind of right here. So we'll leave that there. And it's the same thing. Practice makes perfect. You do the same thing every time. This product will deliver consistent results every time, which is why I prefer this over anything else. Vapor, of course, no respirators involved. Cerakote wipes, you know, some of those guys that use that can only warranty that for a year. This product will last longer than 3, but I'll give you a written warranty for 3 years. So again, back and forth, just trying to get rid of this shiny part that was here on this side of the lens. And I can see that it's kind of that milky white color, so we've cut into plastic. So again, we should be pretty close here. Let's wipe down and see. So we got rid of it here, but there's just a little bit kind of right here. I don't know if you can see that where my finger's at, kind of right here towards the bottom. So that's the only spot we kind of need to work on. So we'll get that wet. Again, same thing. Rinse that sanding disc off a little bit, clean the debris off of it. And then we're just going to go in and work that part right here. Because again, all we're doing at 600 grit is removing that failed UV coating and any shiny spots. Because we want a nice uniform haze across the entire lens. The scratching is what we want. Because we're going to slowly but surely remove all of that scratching as we go up in sanding disc. So now if you can see that, again, I apologize for the lighting in my living room. That's all the way gone now. So there's a little bit right here that I did miss now that I can see that in the light. So again, same process. As far as these sanding discs, some guys use them as a one-time use and they throw them away. They're fairly inexpensive. So by all means, if that's what you want to do it. I try and get 2 to 3 cars out of each sanding disc, depending on the nature, especially when I'm starting at like 1,000 grit. Because at that point, I'm just cutting through the surface level top coat to make it all that hazy. But when there's a bunch of deep scratches, when there's a bunch of peeling and other kind of cracks and scratches, you may have to go lower. So now that I can see that, let's see if I can clean up a little bit of my mess. Let's see if I can get this in the camera so you can see that we're looking for a nice uniform haze across the entire lens. There's no shiny spots. And we do that because you won't know you've missed something, and you won't know you have a problem until you know you have a problem. And that's going to be at the final step when you try and apply this ceramic coating. So we went from 600, now we're going to go up to 800 in the same process. Couple passes at 800, we'll clean this thing up. Where do you get your sandpaper kit? So depending on what you're looking for, the kits from that I'm using come with it. If you need replacements or you need extra, Amazon is a good place. However, to work with plastic, all you're going to want to use is silicone carbide that is made and is best for plastics, i.e. headlights. So if you're looking for a quality product there, Amazon's got it if you're just looking for sanding discs. But again, the packages that I use and the product that I use, they come with the kits when you buy them. So again, this is cutting the scratches that the 600 left, which is why there's still some white in there, because again, I'm cutting into it. And my rule of thumb, as far as knowing when each particular sandpaper is done, is how it feels on the lens. So we'll wipe this down and I'll show you what I mean. I call it the 2-finger test. Call it what you want, but I'll show you here in just a second. So we'll get this first pass done. We'll get it all wiped down. And again, as you go up in grit, not so much when you start at 400, 600, or 800, but certainly when you start from 1,000 and you work up, you're going to see this lens start to clear up, and that's exactly what you want. And I can already tell there's some damage on the inside of this, so we're going to see how that plays out. It's down here. Let's see if I don't know if I'm in the screen here, but it's on the inside, and it's probably just dirt or something, but that's not going to affect the exterior of it. It's still going to look beautiful. It's just on the inside. So again, same thing applies. Wet the sanding disc, wet the lens. And when I talk about the 2-finger test, here's what I mean. I know when I'm done with this particular sandpaper, when I can hold it with 2 fingers and use basically no force, and it glides. So I still have some resistance, and you can almost kind of hear it. I don't know if my mic's picking it up, but you can kind of hear it. It's like scratching. When it's done, it'll literally just glide and you cannot hear it. So I'm still cutting through some of the scratching from the 600 grit. So I know we're not quite ready yet. So we may actually have to do this 800 3 times or so. It just depends. We'll see. I'm going to work it each direction. Like I said, it's up to you how you want to do that. But I like up and down and side to side. I found it much easier as opposed to just doing circles in it, because sometimes if you apply too much pressure and you do circles, you'll see circle scratches in the lens itself. So again, up and down, and I can already tell it's starting to get much easier to kind of get through, so we're getting close. So I'm definitely going to have to do one more pass for sure. It's really hard to get this big headlight in the lens, so I apologize, guys. I'm trying. So then up and down. And again, there's no force going into this. I'm basically just letting the sandpaper do all of the work. And I'm not fighting it. I'm not pushing it really hard. Virtually no pressure other than what it takes to hold it against the light. So we're getting close here. I know this third pass, you'll see what I mean when I talk about this 2-finger test. So wipe down here real quick. Dry that off. Let's see here. Again, can't say it enough. Wipe the sandpaper down, especially if you're doing this outside and you put these things on the ground. You're inevitably going to pick up rocks and dirt, and then you're going to be scratching your own car if you're doing it for your personal car, or you're going to be scratching a customer's car. So 2-finger test. Look, it just glides. I'm barely touching it. So that means it's not cutting any plastic. So once it's done cutting, it's kind of like glass almost. It just kind of glides across here. So that's how you know. That's how I found the best way to know when you're done instead of overworking it. Because at some point, the sandpaper is going to stop doing its job, and you're going to have to go up a grit so that it can do what it does, right? So we'll go up top here. Still a little resistance here. If I'm in frame, little resistance here on this ridge. So we'll work that back and forth, side to side. But we're getting close. So 2 fingers here. Oh, little resistance there. That also is a little indicator too. When I'm pulling with 2 fingers and it gets caught, that means I found that it's not quite done right in that spot. So I'll hit it again. So this one here too, I can tell, actually may need one more pass because I'm not quite there. No buzz. I'm definitely not using a lemon. It's a handheld 3-inch sander, or sanding handle, rather. That would be kind of interesting to do this with a lemon, though. I don't know how far you'd get, but nevertheless. All right, so one more time at, what are we at? 800, and then we'll jump up to 1,000. So again, same thing applies every single time. Wash, rinse, repeat. And again, if I'm not doing a demo, you can fly through this. You know, if I'm not explaining it, it does not take very long. Again, for those that want to do their own personal car, this is a great product to do it because it comes with everything that you need. And it's so simple. If I can do it, you can do it. It's really not that hard. It may seem a little bit overwhelming because you're sanding and you're doing all this stuff, but it's really so easy and so simple. Just takes practice. You know, certainly if you're looking to get into a side hustle or if you're looking to run a business out of this, like myself, practice makes perfect. But again, you'll get quality results from this product alone if you just got the kit for your personal car. So kit, TikTok will put me in timeout if I talk about that on live. So do me a favor, send me a DM. And as soon as I'm done with the live, I'll make sure you get everything you want. Or you can hit the link in my bio. So 2-finger test. Here, I'm just sliding across. And that's exactly what we want to see. No resistance, no effort. I'm basically just holding it with, like I said, 2 fingers. And I'm going across and it just glides like it's glass. You know, nothing there. So that's exactly what we want to see. And so I can safely say we are done at 800 and we can jump all the way up to, well, not all the way up, but we can jump up to 1,000. So I'm a perfectionist, so sometimes I'll do this just an extra time or two just to be safe, especially if it's on a customer's car, because I've strived for perfection, right? All right, so we've done 600, we've done 800, and if you've been with me, you can already see or begin to see some difference in the color. And now we're going to jump up to 1,000, right? So this is where 90 to 95% of your vehicles you're going to start with. But because this one was so, there was some peeling, obviously some oxidation, and definitely some surface scratches. We wanted to get rid of those. So I started at 600 just to be safe, so I didn't have to start at 1,000 and work my way back down. It's just easier that way. So again, we're going to wet the lens, wet the sanding disc, and the same thing. And so as you can see here, again, I apologize for the lighting, but as you can see here, as I jump up in grit and this thing is wet, you can definitely start to see clarity come through. It's not crystal clear. That's not what I'm insinuating. I'm just saying that the haze is starting to come or lessen as I go up in my grit size. Let's get over here so we can see. So I'm looking at this. Anybody have any questions? What best removes the yellow? Just sanding, then polish? No sugar. Been doing this for long enough and have done enough of these that this product right here is kind of twofold. This is a lens prep product from Headlight Magic. And what it does is it will remove 100% of the oxidation from the lens, but it also softens the factory UV coating to make this sanding process much easier. And that's just a fact. It's that simple. There's no need to dry sand. There's no need to do any of that. Again, this product is made for virtually anybody to use, whether you're doing it for a business, whether you want to do your own personal car, because again, there's a kit for that too. But there's no reason to dry sand or to overthink this. This is so simple to do. So we'll go up and down, we'll wipe and see where we're at. All right, let's see how we did. What's up, Mike? Did my account get deleted? I don't know. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Maybe you're not talking to me. Okay, so again, we're clearer than we were when we first started. We're going to do our second pass at 1,000. And my 2-finger test over here has already let me know that this side of the lens is basically done. So it starts to speed up as you move along, which is great. You don't always have to do that many passes. It just depends literally on the condition of the headlight itself. That kind of determines how much or how little or for how long it's going to take. So why not 2,000 and 3,000? Because you've got to remove and cut into the fresh plastic to remove that failed UV coating. There's just really no other way to do it. So let's see here. We may do one more pass just for good luck at 1,000. Let's see here. So again, same thing. Get all that debris and dirt and stuff off of the sanding disc. Re-wet. And then we're going back in to do this again. This time I'm going to go the opposite direction. Oh yeah, that's so much better already. And I can tell you this is going to be the last pass. So this is gliding, 2-finger test, gliding across the lens, no effort, no resistance, no pushback. And I'm literally just putting it on here and moving it. I'm not pushing into the lens. Literally just the 2-finger test lets me know that this sandpaper is done at this stage. So again, I'll just finish it just because we started. And then we'll move on. So again, I strive for perfection. So I will do side to side, up and down every time, just to ensure that I deliver the same quality product every time I do it for a customer, and certainly for demo purposes. So again, that's that. And you can see with it wet, it's much clearer than it was if you've been with me this whole time. Yes, good work does take time. Cheap work is all talk, 100%. All right. So now we're going to jump up to 2,000 and repeat the same process. So easy peasy. I want to make sure you guys can see this. There we go. So again, wet the lens, wet the sanding disc, same process. And see now this at 2000, if I'm talking about the 2-finger test, I'm already gliding across this. So as you go up, it just gets much easier in my experience. So like, it doesn't take much to get rid of, at 2000 grit, it doesn't take very much effort or very many times to get rid of what the 1000 grit paper did, or what the 2000 grit paper did, you know, as you go up. So again, side to side a couple times. This is sliding nicely. Again, no effort. I'm just literally holding it on here and letting it do its thing. Make sure we do the top real good. Side to side. Now we'll finish up by going up and down, all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom. Make sure nobody gets left out. Hate when that happens. Yes, TikToker, I'm only using water. For this product, there's no reason to use isopropyl alcohol. Depending on the nature of the job, I'll either use plain water or spray-way that's ammonia-free. I use spray-way when the light is in the head. Excuse me. I use spray-way when the headlight is in the vehicle, because as you can see here on my table, maybe this water is just dripping everywhere. And if that were on a customer's car, all this cut plastic, all this oxidation would just create a mess. Whereas that spray-way foams up and it doesn't just run it all over the place. So no alcohol, just water or spray-way. And you could do start to finish with just plain water. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. All right, let's wipe this guy down. PP&G clear panel coat with fast hardener. Do not use spray can. I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. So with this Headlight Magic product, I'm using everything that we use for this. And again, there's several different things, several different ways to do this. There's several different products on the market. I've tried them all. I don't do vapor. There's no reason that I need to wear a respirator to go to work. There's no reason why I need to carry around flammable, explosive chemicals to go do my job. It's just not important to me. So I don't do that. Some of the other products that are available, they just don't last as long. You can't put a ceramic top coat on vapor or you will 100 out of 100 times crack the lens. It just doesn't work. So contrary to popular belief, if you want to do that, that's on you. But you'll see as we get through this and get a little closer here, you'll see that this product stands alone. It definitely is in a league of its own. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist or a chemist to do it. You just go to work. It's pretty straightforward. So again, we're at 2,000 grit now. Excuse me, I just lied to you. We're at 3,000 grit now. And we're going to repeat the same process. And again, this is getting easier and easier to sand as I go up because it's not really having to work that hard to remove the scratches and stuff that the previous grit did. It just gets much easier. So we're going to go side to side. Make sure we get the top up here. And then we'll go up and down on the whole lens. 2-finger test. It's just rolling. You know, no effort. It's not fighting me. It's not biting. It's not getting caught up. It's exactly what we want to see. So let's see if I get you back in the frame here where I'm at. Okay. So that was a good first pass. Nothing better than... So Oscar, I started at 600 grit on my sanding disc, and I'm now on 3,000. I'm going to do one more pass at 3,000, and then I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to polish it, and then I'm going to apply the ceramic UV coating that will last for more than 3 years, but I warranty my customer work for 3 years. So again, wet the disc. We're going to do our last pass at 3,000 is where we're at. So again, side to side, again, 2-finger test. If you can see, it's just gliding across here. So that's done over here. I'm happy with that. No resistance. It's not biting. It's not catching. It's not fighting me. And that's how I've learned that you're done with this sandpaper, is when you can feel free to use it. The 2-finger test, and it slides across this with minimal effort and no resistance. Because again, you don't want to use pressure to begin with, and even more so when you're trying to determine if the sandpaper that you're using you're done with or not. You definitely don't want to be gouging into the lens. So we'll give this a quick little just run through, because again, 2-finger test, I'm gliding across this whole thing at 3,000 grit. So I just have 4,000 left. And then we'll be about 90% done with this light. So even at 3,000 grit, you can see this is much clearer than it was when we first started, if you've been with me this whole time. So we'll wipe this thing down. We'll go to 4,000. Let's see here. Any questions yet? Awesome, thanks. At the wrecking yard, we just buff it out with automotive wax if the customer needs it. Yeah. I mean, to each their own. That's the proverbial putting lipstick on a pig trick to move a product. I get it. I'm not mad at it. But if you want something that's going to last and something that the customer is going to be satisfied with for years, then this is the product. So again, we're at 4,000 grit. So this is going to be the last sandpaper that we use. I start at 95% of the time, at 1,000 grit, depending on the vehicle. But again, like I said, 95% of the time, we're going to start at 1,000, and we're always going to end up at 4,000, no matter what. So we're basically almost done here. And I can tell you with the 2-finger test that I've been talking about this whole live, this thing didn't need a whole lot of love, to be honest with you, because it's just kind of gliding across this whole thing like we want to see. And when it's wet like this, what's nice is if my camera will get it with the poor lighting in my living room, it's already so clearer than it was certainly when we started, but certainly than it was when we were like even 1,000 grit. There was still some haze to it. So again, like I've mentioned, I strive for perfection. That was the first time at 4,000. I'm going to do one more time because I always try and do 2. There's just no reason not to, because it doesn't take very long to begin with. So again, wet. Make sure the surface area of the lens is wet. And then we're just going to go in for one quick pass. 2-finger test this whole way. I want to make sure that I just didn't miss something while I was sitting here talking. So if the 2-finger test passes, then I know I'm done. And we can move on to the fun part and get to the coating and watch this light really come to life. So we'll go up and down, and then we'll be done. Let's see if there's any questions while I finish here. Mike, I appreciate you helping me out answering questions. Obviously, it's kind of hard to do that when I'm sanding a headlight, but nevertheless, thank you so much. All right, guys, we've passed the 2-finger test. I'm happy here. This is as good as we're going to get it for this light. And like I said, I know now that it's really clear. I don't know if you could see this. Let me make sure it's in the frame. But right down here where my thumb is, there's something on the inside of that. So that's not going to come off because it's on the inside. So again, that would be the time you would, if it was for your personal car, you'd have to live with the fact that there was some damage on the inside, or certainly early on when we pick that up, that's the time where you have that conversation with your customer. Hey, this is on the inside. There's nothing we can do that's going to fix that. So basically, sorry about your luck. I'll make the outside of it look new again, but you're always going to be stuck with that because there's just no way to get in there and fix that. So being transparent, honest with your customer or even with yourself is huge. Okay, so now that we started at 600 and we've worked our way all the way up to 4,000, I'm going to let this dry for just a second. we are ready to cut and polish. So again, with the DIY kit, the starter kit, and the pro kit, you get the 3-inch drill bit backing attachment. So again, you don't really need any special tools, really. I mean, if you really want to know, I'll show you just because I have it. This is the Flex PXE80. This is a sander polisher, probably one of the best on the market, but it's also a pretty penny, and there's really no need for it. You know, I'm showing that with a household drill, you could do this start to finish, whether it's for a business, whether it's for yourself. You know, that PXE80 is overkill. However, the caveat to that is, depending on the vehicle that I am restoring the headlights on, sometimes the areas where the vehicle surrounds the actual headlight is too tight and I can't get this thing in there. The big drill, I can't get it in there. So that thing is much easier to get in those tighter spots. So here we are. We are at the point where we are going to use the Kosh Chemi micro cut. So this is a cutting and polishing compound. It is a micro cut. A lot of people feel a certain type of way about the compounds that they use. I've used this pretty much forever. It doesn't take a whole lot to go, and it produces the same results every single time. So again, a little bit goes a long way. So to give you some perspective, usually it's 3 dots on here. If I can get it to come out, 3 dots. Come on, there we go. 3 dots, and that was a little too much. So I'll back off the others. And then really, if you're on a customer's car, or certainly you're in your living room, you don't want to damage your floor, your clothing, the customer's car. I'm always going to take this and I'm going to dab it across the entire lens so that when I start drilling this, it's not flinging it all over the place. So I'm trying a new mic. You should still be able to hear me when I talk, and it shouldn't be that loud as I drill. So we'll get into it. So again, this is that micro cut. It's going to take off that last little bit of scratching from the 4000 grit. It's minimal, but it still cuts that off and cleans it up really good. So you want to make sure that you hit, you know, all the surface area of the headlight. And again, if you see, I'm kind of fighting this drill because it naturally wants to kick off, right? And so imagine being on a customer's car with the clearance space that's really tight, say for instance in this corner here, you know, the vehicle's here and you're trying to get in there and it's kicking, you know, you just want to be very, very careful. Again, it's not impossible, but it's just, you want to be very careful. But it can be done with just a drill you have sitting in your garage or in your toolbox. You don't need a bunch of special equipment to do this, because again, this product is made for the everyday person to be able to do it. All right. So we're done cutting. Let's see if there's any questions. How do you know what to do? Oh, he's talking to Mike. Sorry about that, Mike. I'll stay out of your lane. So again, that was the 3-inch synthetic wool cutting pad. We're going to jump right into the polishing pad. I'm not even going to wipe this lens off. I'm just going to throw this right on the backing plate of the drill. And in fact, I'm going to use less Kosh Chemi than I did on the synthetic wool pad, just a little bit. You don't need a whole lot. Again, just a couple little small dabs. Oop, well, that's going to be enough, and I'll just smear it around. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to dab this all over the lens so that it doesn't fling all over the place. Kind of smear it around a little bit, and then we'll just start polishing. And as you can see here, again, I so apologize for the lighting in my living room. I'll get that fixed. But you can see here where I've polished versus here where I have not. So again, this light is starting to come to life. All right. So, for all the naysayers, for all of the ones that think they've got it figured out, this is where this product separates itself from anything you're going to find on the shelves of O'Reilly, Walmart, Amazon, etc., etc. So, I wish, let me back this up a little bit so we can see. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to back this up so maybe we can see a little bit better. That should work. So this is where a lot of guys would stop. A lot of the guys that, sand, they'll cut, then they'll polish. And then basically what they'll do is they'll stop right here. And this is where Headlight Magic separates itself from the rest, right? So again, sprayway, ammonia-free, no Windex, no isopropyl alcohol, water, no straight alcohol. Again, put it straight on the lens. We're going to wipe this thing down. And when a bunch of the guys that do this get to this point, this is where they're going to say, all right, you're all set. We'll see you later. They've stripped the UV coating. They've put no top coat on it. There's no added protection on here. Yeah, it looks great. Again, the lighting in here doesn't do it a whole lot of justice, but I mean, this thing is clear, especially from where we started. It's great. It'll be just fine, right? So let me get you back in frame here. This is where this Headlight Magic stands apart. This is the ceramic top coat with the UV protection added into it, which is the only product I'm aware of on the marketplace that is made specifically for headlights in terms of ceramic. Other ones say they are, but they can also be applied to vehicles as well. This cannot go on vehicles. If there's incidental splatter or a spill or if you accidentally wipe it, hit it with some sprayway or water and wipe it up. Do not leave it on the vehicle. It's not made for cars. It's made for plastic and it's made for headlights specifically. So again, nothing else on the marketplace is going to give you a 3-year warranty and stand by it. They're just not. I don't care what you say, what you know, who you talk to, who told you what. It just doesn't exist. So again, let's get you up here close so you can see this bad boy come to life. I'm going to do my best to try and get it all in frame best I can. So I should have demoed this. This is a cotton-free gauze applicator pad. You want cotton-free because they don't shred. And so when you're applying this, you never have to worry about little cotton threads coming out and then ending up on your lens, because at that point you're going to start over. All the way back from the bottom to sand that off to get rid of it. Unless you catch it within the first 30 seconds, some sprayway on it, you can wipe the ceramic off and reapply. So again, there is no method to the madness in terms of how much of this to use. I'll tell you, I get a lot of questions and a lot of comments about, oh, it's leaving streaks. What do I do? What did I do wrong? Well, if it's leaving streaks, that means you didn't use enough. I'm not asking you to saturate this whole thing. When you fold it in force, we're looking for this ridge here, and I'm going to put a fair amount on here. Again, I'm not going to soak the whole pad. There's no need to do that. But I'm going to put enough on here so that I know there's enough on there and it's not going to streak. So we're going to start in this corner. See if I can get it in the frame here. We're going to start in this corner. I'm going to lock in this corner. And we're going to move all the way through the top of this. We're going to go all the way down the side, all the way down the bottom of the front, all the way back up. And then we're going to do 50% on and 50% off passes, meaning I'm going to do overlapping passes, but I want half of it on new plastic and half of it on what I just did, right? And it's just back and forth all the way across this lens. And if you can't see by now, I'm sure you can, this light is come all the way to life. She is back. This is a self-leveling product. You do not have to overwork it, meaning you don't have to come back in. I just saw I missed a spot, so that's fine. You don't have to overwork it. It will self-level. And so without touching it. You guys tell me what you think now. Those of you that have been with me this whole entire live, you saw where we started, and you see what we look like now. Tito, this is neither. This is not vapor. I do not do vapor. I don't trust it. It's dangerous. I don't like to wear a respirator to do my job. This is Headlight Magic's product. How this compare to vapor? This blows vapor away. Vapor, you can't put a top coat of ceramic on. It will crack and destroy the lens. So you'll be buying that customer or yourself a brand new headlight. Period. End of story. So let me put this in front here so we can kind of get a better look. So again, we started hazy. We had some yellowing on the top half of this. That's natural. That's normal. We had some peeling over here on this side. You cannot touch this product for the first few minutes because it is sticky to touch while it's self-leveling, while it's doing its thing. You can restore these, and I will tell my customers they are safe to drive when I'm done. Accidental or incidental splashing of water if you drive through a puddle, as long as it's cured for about an hour, it should be fine. But you do not ever want to ever drive this thing through a car wash for the first 48 hours. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to add streaks to it, and you'll just be stripping this ceramic coating off the top and redoing it. So that's, I mean, it's not like it's the end of the world. It's just going to cost you more time and more work. That's it. User, if you're using a vapor product and you're doing vapor and you're adding a ceramic coating worth its weight in its name, that's going to add the UV because you guys have stripped the UV coating off of it during your process. So what are you using to put on the top of it? If you're using a quality ceramic headlight specific product, you will destroy that lens. Clayboy, I restore these on a daily for my job. I warranty this product, this light right here, I will warranty for 3 years. No questions asked. Again, TikTok hates when I plug a business that they're not getting paid on, so I've got to be careful what I talk about, but there is a single-use package, there is a 10-car package, and there's also a pro kit that comes with enough sanding discs, it comes with all the attachments, it comes with all of the liquid, it comes with everything you need to do 50 cars. Where I live, that package will generate me $8,000 in revenue, easy on the bottom side. And so there's a kit for kind of everybody. So I can't share the link and all that stuff on live, but if you're interested in this product, I also have a promo code that'll save you some cash. Send me a message and I'll be happy to send you that link. But again, I'm trying to put everything back out here so you can kind of see what comes with these packages. So Henrock, send me a message. I can't talk about pricing on live or they'll put me in TikTok timeout. I don't want to be in jail. So the sanding disc, 100%. So the lower ones sometimes no, because if I'm going low, like if I'm going to certainly a 400, 600, and sometimes even 800, that means there's some damage on this lens. And oftentimes I've worked through the grit on that sandpaper. But if I'm going to do, like I mentioned earlier in the live, if this is 90 to 95% of all the other vehicles that I'm going to do, I'm going to start at 1,000. And it doesn't take very much. So I will easily get 2 to 3 sets of vehicles out of this one sanding disc. It's not like these things are super expensive to begin with. But like I always say, a penny saved is a penny earned. And if I don't have to spend my time or money buying sanding discs every 10 minutes, it's just much easier. So yeah, single use stuff, you can. I generally don't. There's just no need to throw away a perfectly good sanding disc. So hopefully that answers your question. Did you use compound? Let me scroll back up here. Did you use compound and polish or just compound? So I use I use Kosh Chemi's micro cut, and it's basically both. I use it for both. So put this on this little 3-inch synthetic wool pad comes with the kits. Put a little bit of this on there at first, do a final cut, and then put just a few more dabs on the 3-inch polish pad and do the same thing. And again, all these kits, which is nice because you only have to buy it once with the first kit. All these kits come with the 3-inch backing plate attachment for your drill. So there's no need to go and buy, a $550 polisher. It's overkill. I mean, I do so many of these that I have it based, just for depending upon what type of vehicle I'm in. If I have to get in tight places, as you saw in the live, the drill tends to kick, and especially if the headlight is in a vehicle, the last thing you want is the drill kicking into the side of their vehicle. So again, I'll use something like this because it's super easy to use and it can fit in tighter spots than that big drill. So again, all this can be done with just a household drill, nothing special, little DeWalt or Makita, Milwaukee, whatever it is. Everything comes in all of these kits, right? So again, whether you're just looking to restore your own vehicle's headlights, they have a DIY product and it comes with just enough to do one vehicle. They have a starter package, which is enough to do 10 vehicles. And again, they have a pro kit, which is enough to do 50 vehicles. So based on where I'm at, that's $8,000 in revenue. So that little, investment into that pro kit, the return on investment is incredible. I mean, $8,000 in revenue I can generate from that one kit that will do 50 cars. So Fernie, I can't talk about it on live, but send me a direct message and I'll send you everything you need. Also the promo code I'll include as well. Possession is 9 times the law. If you don't, let's see here. So any other questions on this, guys? Again, he says 8K. Yeah, I mean, I'm at 199. My starting is 199. So, it's around 350 for the pro kit. I think it's around 170, 180 for the medium kit. And I think it's like less than $50 for the DIY do it yourself. So like I said, we have started from a pretty beat up light and we have ended up, I gotta do my puzzle here or they're gonna kick me off. We have ended up in a crystal clear headlight that if this were going into a customer's vehicle, I would warranty this job using these products for 3 years. He says $8,000. Yeah, I don't have to fight with people on TikTok. I live in Denver, by the way. Cost of living here is substantially higher than most places across the country. I work at dealerships. I work at mechanic shops. I'll do $750,000, or excuse me, $250,000 just in dealerships and mechanic shops. So you think what you want there, big guy. You don't work with customers? All right. This guy's got to go. You work on TikTok. I just kicked him out. There's no need to all that. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for jumping in. again, this product I'll stand behind. It is, of all the things I've tried, I've never tried, I've seen in person vapor, but I don't, again, I feel strongly about not having to wear a respirator and carry chemicals that are that dangerous. And it just doesn't provide the same quality, consistent results on a day in and day out basis. Yes, it looks good, but I promise and I guarantee you it won't look this good in 2 months. It just won't, because there's no UV protection on the top of it. It just won't. So again, thank you guys for jumping in. Is it budget friendly for pro? Yes. Again, so send me a direct message. I have a promo code and a link that will save you some cash. So yes. Guys, don't forget, if you haven't already, follow me. I go live all the time showing the restorations. I'll be sometimes at dealerships, sometimes I'll be at a customer's house, sometimes I'll be in the living room. Really just depends on what's going on. But like I said, follow me, send me a message. I'm happy to help in any way I can. And I will certainly, walk you through what I did to get there and how to use this product, and then certainly how to go out and find business. So let me know if you have any questions. Again, if you haven't followed, follow now. You don't want to miss. This is a great side hustle for some, or like me, you can do it as your full-time job. And I absolutely love it. Yeah, user, absolutely. I would, if I was you, I would send me a message. I'll send you the link, but I would consider maybe doing that single use thing. I think it's less than $50, but that gives you everything you need to do one vehicle, and that's all you're going to need to know. I mean, if you'll see the difference in one vehicle, it's that good of a product. Yeah, then get that standard package, which is 10 vehicles, or do that 50 car, and you'll see. I mean, again, well over 500 sets of headlights I've done, warranted all of them, and God is my witness, strike me down if I'm lying. I have not gotten a phone call from any customer saying, your product is trash, I want my money back, or you messed it up, come fix it. It just doesn't. If you follow the same thing that we did throughout this live, it's going to deliver consistent results every single time, period. It's that easy. So right on, guys. Thanks so much. I know we're a little bit over our hour, but if you have any questions, hit me with a direct message. If you're interested in pricing or the link to purchase, or just have questions on the product, hit me with a message, and I'll send you all the information you need. Otherwise, don't forget to hit that bell when I go live. You can see it in action, and we'll see you guys on the flip side. Thanks so much for joining. Have a great night.